Hey guys. Before I begin, I just want to say that last video I did on swords, don't worry guys, that's the last sword vid I'm going to do. I'm getting the feeling there are a few people who just aren't, I know there are only a select few people who are interested in swords to begin with, but that's going to be the last one I do, so don't worry, it's going to be the last one I do for a while. I'll do another one, but it's going to be a while before I do it, alright? So don't fret on that, it's not going to be all I do. Just want to get that out the way. For those who did enjoy that one though, I felt that they got some info out of it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If there's any other questions, just PM me. Okay? But yeah, this one's going to be a more serious one. And actually, I really would appreciate some of you guys' feedback on this. Because this one's definitely going to boil down to my opinion. I mean, not like my other videos boil down to my opinion too. But I usually tend to feel really strongly about it because I feel I have like a lot of facts behind me. This one, even though I feel strongly about it, I am not 100% sure that I'm right. You know, so feel free to come in with your own perspectives on this subject. I would really appreciate it. Either a response video, text, comment, whatever, even a PM. You know, I would really appreciate your guys' input on this. Well, let me get on with it. As it says there, it's going to be about protests. I'm sure you guys are keeping up at least fairly well with current events, and with all the unrest that's going on in the world, and especially in this country, you know, with our rather questionable government and our rather malignant administration pulling off some of its illegal activities, you know, like spying on people and continuing unjust wars. You know, we got a complacent Congress. We got a Speaker of the House not doing her job. We got the growings of what looks like it might be a police state marching up on us soon. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for people to, for a lot of unrest. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of reasons for a lot of unrest in this country. And with that, you most likely are going to be seeing a rise in protests, if we haven't seen that already. But quite frankly, I'm not really too sure if protests are all that effective. They may have been in the past, and I say may have been because I think I can argue that they might not have been as potent as history likes to say they have been. I mean, it's been a popular tool used, like especially during the civil rights movement, workers' union movements, feminist movements, you know, hippies fighting against the war, you know, all these different protests. But especially in these days and times, I don't think they're all that effective. I really don't. I'm thinking as far as getting the news out, if you're trying to spread information about a particular subject down to the grassroots level and you do a protest, it might raise the public's awareness a little bit about a particular topic you're trying to get them to see. But as far as trying to change the minds of the people you're protesting against or trying to get them to do differently, I really don't think that protests are an effective way of doing that anymore, if they have been. Part of the reason why I believe this is because I actually was part of a protest before. See, way back when I first was in college, I was part of a student activist protest, March 23rd, 1995 in New York. I'm from New York City, born and raised there, and I went to college there. Part of the CUNY school system. CUNY stands for City University of New York, sorry. City University of New York is what CUNY stands for. And CUNY schools were originally designed for people who normally could not afford the more higher level college educated places, universities, like those who can't go to Yale, Stanford, like the really ridiculously expensive ones. CUNY was developed for more, you know, the inner school kids who had intellects and high academics and who deserved a college education. And CUNY was designed for them to get in there because it was supposed to be a lot more affordable. But when I went to school, we were noticing that financial aid was constantly getting cut, and there were a new round of budget cuts along the way. But at the same time, the tuitions were going up. So it looked to us like they're trying to take CUNY away from the people that it was designed for in the first place. And there was a lot of pissed off students in CUNY about this, and they finally decided, you know what? It's time for us to march. We've already written enough articles about it in our school newspapers, even I have, because I was part of the school newspaper then. I mean, we've written articles about it. We tried to have public awareness about it. We formed meetings about it. We tried to have student gatherings, and then we were finally like, you know what? Fuck this. We're going to do a protest. And we're going to involve all the CUNY schools. And there were a lot, I still remember those days. There were a lot of militant guys there too. They were like, my favorite were the anarchists, because some of them were like, yo, fuck the system, you know, we got. And I have to admit, for those particular type of students, they knew the deal. They saw the writing on the wall. They knew right away that if we were going to be doing a protest in New York City in those days and times, and this was just 1995, imagine now. But 1995, we had people going in, hey, we're going to be throwing protests, we got to be ready. We have to have people getting ready just in case the police move in on us. You know, these guys had plans. I remember before things really got underway and we were like forming the plans, the subject of a permit came up, which I always found kind of funny. Here you are trying to protest against the government, you're trying to protest against the establishment, yet you have to ask the establishment you're protesting against for permission to protest against them. Kind of counterproductive if you sit down and think about it, but those things still, if you don't want the cops arresting you, that's one of the things you have to do. But it was decided by many of the students who were organizing this thing, like, you know what? No, fuck the permit, because they were thinking along the same lines that I just said. You know, why are we going to ask the establishment, you know, for permission to protest against them? No, we're going to just jump on them and let our voices be heard. And right away I knew that was a recipe for trouble. But I was, you know, we're outvoted, so they went for it. By the way, even though I was part of this, I don't want it to make it look like I was one of the grand designers. I mean, I came in like during like the final stages when I was told of it, and they're like, you know, Marco, you're an activist, you should join this too. But I didn't come up with the major plans. I helped finalize things, but I wasn't like, you know, part of the core group. So I don't want to take, you know, credit for things I didn't do. But I was part of it, and you know, me and the guys in our student offices, we got people together, we got ready to do the march, and we spread awareness of it. But the day that we were going to do the protest on City Hall, for those of you in New York watching this who are familiar with it, we all, us from the College of Staten Island, because that's where I was from, we gathered at the Staten Island Ferry. And already at the Staten Island Ferry, wall-to-wall cops. Just tons of cops. And we weren't even near City Hall yet. City Hall was like, I'd say maybe a mile or so away from there. And the closer we got to City Hall, the more cops we saw. And so finally, we reached City Hall, and it looked like an army, full of riot police and SWAT teams and paddy wagons and a bunch of angry-looking people in dark uniforms. And one of my friends looking around and says, "Damn it, I should be robbing a bank right about now." I mean, that's how many cops are around. He's like, "I should be robbing a bank in Brooklyn somewhere. The cops are over here." And then, So we got into the park in front of City Hall, and people started doing their speeches, and the bands were playing protest songs and all that. And I happened to have climbed the tree, because me and my reporter friends, we were going to write down what was going on in the protest. And I climbed the tree to get a good look around. And I noticed that the ring of cops that were around were a lot thicker and a hell of a lot closer than they used to be. And the place where we walked in was closed off. So I was like, oh shit. I saw the writing on the wall right there. I'm like, this isn't going to be good. And true to form, I'm running out of time, so I don't want to go through the whole thing. If you guys want further details, I mean, if enough people ask me, I'll put up another video describing it in detail, or I'll just PM you with the details. But to make a long story short, the students later on wanted to march around City Hall, and because they didn't have the permit, they weren't really allowed, but they found a way to do it anyway. And then as they were doing it, they realized that they were closed in. So they finally started yelling out, "We want out, we want out," because they realized that they were trapped and that the cops could move on in them at any time. And they were fearing for their safety. In fact, I remember throughout the protest, speakers kept saying to all the students, do not antagonize the cops. Do not start anything with the cops. Don't try to fight them. Don't throw anything at them. Don't do shit. This is a non-violent protest. The cops are looking to throw you either in jail or a body bag. Do not antagonize them. This was a constant theme throughout the whole damn thing. So now the students realize they're trapped and they're yelling they want out. And the cops, not only did they not decide to let the students out, but then they broke down their own barricades to get at the students and start beating the living shit out of them. And I was right at the freaking front lines. Like, here I am seeing a huge wave of cops coming towards us, and I'm like, oh shit. I actually got out unscathed, but the only reason why I did is because while everybody was running and screaming in terror, I was walking around like this. Because I figured if I walked around all confused looking, they'd leave me alone. In their bloodlust, they'd go after the people running and screaming, and they'd leave somebody who's walking around confused alone. And I got out unscathed. And the next day, the media made it look like the students started it. Never mind the fact that the cops were actually the ones who moved in, and there were witnesses all around saying that it was the cops who started it, but the newspapers made it look like we started it. And all that public awareness that we tried to raise did nothing. Budget cuts went through anyway. So that protest failed, and that was like my ultimate lesson about the effectiveness of protests. And now in these days and times, where now you can't even go to an official, government hearing without cops moving away just because you're giving an unpopular opinion, I just don't think they're effective anymore. If you think differently, let me know. If you think the same, let me know. I would really like to hear you guys' words in the matter.